Hello, this is Postdoc Chronicles week number 103. And it's 2 a.m. now. I'm about to sleep, so I'm gonna explain why I'm sleeping late today. But before we get into that, let me talk about one of the best, most famous game for the Nintendo Switch, a launch title, and that is Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. I've had this game for a long time. It's even like one of the games that I'm considering to get when I initially bought a Nintendo Switch. But of course, I opted for a Super Mario Odyssey because I'm more of a Mario fan than a Zelda fan. But I finally given the time to invest this game. It's very beautiful, and so the thing is, I got the cart. I actually got it for a cheap price, like something like 1,500 or something like that. It usually goes for like almost 3,000. And in fact, the one I got for 1.5, someone sold it. It's actually like the special edition with all the map guides and all those things. So it's very nice. Of course, I haven't finished it yet. It's a very huge game. It's a very long game, but it kind of reminds me of the usual Zelda that I love, which is the usual Zelda that I love are the top down ones, the ones with the top down perspective. So one of the things that it reminds me of is the one on the 3DS. This one, the Legend of Zelda Link Between Worlds. So this particular game right here, the reason why I say that it reminds me of the Legend of Zelda, it's because you can actually like go anywhere you want. After all the tutorials and all those things, you have like a freedom to go any dungeons that you want. Typically, old Zelda games, even the 3D ones like Ocarina of Time on the 3DS, or like something like the 2D ones, like let's say the Minish Cap on the Game Boy Advance, you are like restricted to go to specific places, like let's say a Link to the Past. So you have to go through this dungeon first, and then this dungeon, and then this dungeon, because the thing is, you need specific materials to be able to accomplish this dungeon. For example, this dungeon in particular may require a bow. Another dungeon in particular may require, I don't know, a flying capabilities, a jumping capability, or something like that. But in the Link Between Worlds, the nice thing is, I finished this game on the 3DS, one of the best games on the 3DS, by the way. I think it's even comparable, to the 3D open world ones, Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time. But this is very nice because, like I said, you're not restricted to go to a particular linear path. You can go anywhere you want, and in here you have like a certain character that allows you to rent items that allows you to go anywhere. And again, that particular freedom translates very well to the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So here are the two games once again. Okay, so that will have like a nice what do you call this, thumbnail shot. But yeah, this game, like, the freedom is insane. It's like what do you call this, Skyrim, like it's an open world. And yeah, you get like your weapons are like are the durability is limited, but it doesn't matter. They're almost infinite, because like most enemies drop like a certain body part or their own weapons. You can use it when they die. And yeah, so you have like a shrines where you go in, and then so that you can improve your HP and all those stuff. So I'm in a point where in the map you can now see the location of the what do you call this, the guardians, the beast, the divine beast. Yeah, that's what they called. And then I'm not sure, but I assume that I have the freedom to go any of the divine beasts that I want. But what I'm doing right now is I'm like basically scouring the map for all the possible shrines that I can go, so that before I go to the divine beast, I'll have like a nice HP. But yeah, it's so far it's very nice. I'm really enjoying it. But anyway, very quickly, let's go to the Postdoc Chronicles before we talk about why I'm sleeping late tonight. But yeah, so right now I'm doing the jet slice, jets with in the different momentum slices for my qualification task. So right now I'm doing a default, Vincia, and Dire modes for them. But the problem I've encountered is that when I try to run it locally, so because you have to submit it on the grid, because locally you're only allotted 100 gig, so you have to submit it on the grid for a huge number of events. So locally, the job options that I wrote, they work fine. For the default mode, the Dire mode, the Vincia mode, they work fine. They run fine. I think I'm doing the zero slice, JZ zero slice of the jet. So I'm doing soft QCD first, something that, like I've mentioned repeatedly before, that we've already fixed in the current build of the Athena. So I'm doing soft QCD for the JZ zero slice. They work on the local, but on the grid, the weird thing is it doesn't work. Well, it not necessarily doesn't work. The only thing that works is the Vincia mode, so the default and the dire, they don't work in the grid. Like every time I submit it on the grid, it returns a broken status, which is weird because the Vincia mode, the Vincia shower mode, I run it locally, it's fine, and then I run it on the grid, it's also fine. So I have like already on the grid waiting for me the Vincia mode. But then you just have to. There's like a specific command in the Pythia called part on showers or part on model, something like that. You just change it, the default value, you just change it to dire, you just change to Vincia. So the moment I change it to dire and to default, it doesn't work in the grid. So I don't know, now I don't know like what to look at, but I'm gonna try, maybe, I don't know, increasing it locally, and then maybe there's some errors that will arise there. I don't know, because on the grid I'm running a huge number of events, so maybe there's something wrong when I increase the number of events for the default and dire. But it's weird because the Vincia works, so I don't know why. But yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. And also I've already shared with Roberto in the MUED project the a specific Python file of the things that he needed to run, which I could run myself, but right now I don't have the hard disk space, because usually I do my work on a dedicated PC on the University of Witwatersrand. I don't want to go there right now. I mean, because the number of COVID cases in South Africa is like a half a million already. I believe it's like top five here in the whole world in terms of the number of active cases. So it's South Africa's number five, so it's really bad. I'm really paranoid to go out. So specific job options that I can run, specific sub process that I can run on my laptop is the doublet KK quark and the anti quark, and then also the singlet KK quark and the corresponding anti quark, and also the permutations of doublet quark and a singlet quark as a final state. So these things, I believe, they take a huge amount of memory from my laptop right now. I currently have like at a given time like 50 to 70 gig of free space on my computer, and it basically eats all of that. So, and then I run it, and then the next day it will say, or like after a few days it will say, your laptop is running out of this space, delete something. So I can't, like, it doesn't finish it. It basically cuts the simulation because of because I'm running out of the hard disk space. Okay, but anyway, yeah. Also, every Tuesday, actually, for many months now, we have like a journal club or a reading club with people from the University of Florida who are also high energy physicists. These guys that are also doing particle physics. So they're reading. I saw them like a few months ago on a Reddit, in the particle physics subreddit. Someone posted there. We're inviting people. We are like a reading club. We read like quantum field theory and the standard model. The Schwartz book. They're reading that every Tuesday, and of course I commented if I can join them. They said fine, but the problem is, of course, South Africa is 6 hours ahead. Is it ahead? Yeah, 6 hours ahead of United States. Yeah, United States is 6 hours behind. So they kind of adjusted the schedule such that I can be part of it. And I think they said, is it fine if they do 6 p.m., which is of course 12 midnight here. And of course, usually during that time, I'm still fine. I'm still like awake. So yeah, usually, so we begin like 12 midnight, and then we go on for like 1 to 2 hours. So like, for example, right now we went a little further. We Today we discussed like chapter 25 of the Schwartz book, which is on Young Mill's theory. And then in 2 weeks from now, so we take turns of assigning a person a specific chapter to go through. So, for example, 2 weeks from now, I'll be doing. Next week, we'll be reading the quantum Young Mills, and then a week after that, I'm gonna be assigned to discuss gluon scattering processes. So that's chapter 27 of the Schwartz book. And like I saw, so they've actually been doing this like early this year. They started chapter 1 all the way now. They're at chapter 27. Unfortunately, they only like advertised the Reddit one, like I believe I entered like chapter 14 or something like that. Yeah, and then I basically we read like I was able to join when they were already doing renormalization and all these things, and now we're on part 4. of the Schwartz book, which I'm really after the standard model part. The quantum field, the machinery behind the standard model. So I think, yeah, it's gonna be useful. And then I believe the book has like 30 plus, or now we're now talking about the next book that we're gonna tackle. And then I suggested, maybe some group theory, because some other members are also interested in mathematics. But the nice thing is, so these guys are from University of Florida. So my supervisor, of course, Deepak Kar, is a graduate. He got his PhD from the University of Florida. His supervisor was like a Rick Field, which I believe is already retired. But the nice thing is, my roommate, like last year and early this year, Gaoli Chen, who was doing a string theory, his supervisor is actually Pierre Raymond, and he also came from a University of Florida. And then the funny thing is, when I mentioned to the guys, that I'm reading with. I told them, do you know this guy, Goli Chen? They're actually buddies with Goli Chen. Like, yeah, we know Goli. Like, it's a small world. Because I told them, actually, Goli Chen is like my seatmate, my roommate. Like we share a single room. And then because in the postdoc area, per room, there are two postdocs inside. So I share a room with Goli Chen. And then they said, well, a small world. They know Goli Chen. But these guys, like, I believe I'm like the most senior among them, because these guys are like still doing their PhD. But the thing is, they are more knowledgeable than me in quantum field theory, because they've been doing this, since they're undergrad, since they're in MS. So they're more well equipped in quantum field theory. And the reason why I'm joining this journal club is to strengthen my foundations in QFT, because like I said, I'm doing phenomenology and experiment, and these things are, very far removed from the foundations of QFT. Of course, we do still need to know QFT, but like if you ask me like to sit down and then solve some hardcore QFT like on the spot, I'm probably gonna have some hard time, like without opening textbooks and all those things. So that's why, like, I'm joining this reading club to strengthen my foundations in quantum field theory, and consequently in particle physics. But yeah, so that's the reason why it's late right now. And again, I forgot to do this last Friday. Let me drink some water here. I was supposed to do this last Friday. I forgot, but yeah, hopefully this coming Friday I'm gonna be able to do postdoc Chronicles 104. But anyway, that's it, guys. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, and bye bye.